My boyfriend destroyed my deceased grandmother's jewelry box, and I think I deserved it. My boyfriend and I have been together for a year and a half. There have been a few times when he's blown up on me over the smallest things. Guys, I'm holding up a tiny little red flag right now. Usually, he gets angry and makes it everyone in the house's problem. When I finally stood up for myself, he hurt me in one of the most painful ways possible. I don't know if I should forgive him or if the blame is on me. My grandmother died of lung cancer when I was 12. She was the toughest and most hilarious little old lady, and I miss her every day. Everything my grandmother intended to give us after she passed was taken by one of her sisters before we could get to her house. By the time my mum was finally able to get there, very little remained. Among the few items left was a beautiful white jewelry box that could sit on a counter. My mother gave it to me after seeing how drawn I was to it. That jewelry box was the only thing that I had left of my grandmother. When I moved out of state to live with my dad as a teenager, it was one of the few things that I refused to leave behind. A couple of days ago, I wanted to get my hair done but was indecisive. So I asked my boyfriend what he thought. I gave him a couple of color choices that I was considering, jet black or a random shade of red. He told me he preferred black over red. I took his thoughts into consideration, but ultimately decided to go with red. As soon as he saw me earlier today after my appointment, he was furious, saying I never listened to him and that he was so repulsed by me he couldn't even sleep with me until I changed it. He called me several expletives. I decided to go lie down and rest before my shift that night. Ignoring him didn't diffuse the situation at all. He started grabbing everything that was mine from our shared bedroom and throwing it down the hallway. He kept saying that I was in the way and told me to get up and sleep on the couch. He's done this several times before, and every time he waits until I break down and apologize before I'm allowed to move my things back into our room. This can last anywhere from a few hours to a few weeks. However long it lasts, he makes sure that my life is a living hell the entire time, yelling at me, belittling me, and telling me what a horrible person I am. This time, I was over it. I was too exhausted to play his game, so I just lay in bed, trying to drown out the vile things spewing from his mouth. When he saw that he wasn't getting a reaction, he started breaking things and tearing up my drawings. Before destroying each item, he kept saying all I had to do was get my things out of his room and get my ugly ass out. When I still refused, he grabbed my jewelry box and held it over his head. As soon as I realized what he was about to do, I became frantic. I started sobbing and begging him to stop. I was so loud that his mum heard me from her bedroom on the other side of the house and came to see what was going on. She tried to reason with him, but he was enraged. He just kept shouting, "Get the fuck out now!" After about 30 seconds of chaos, he slammed my jewelry box onto the floor. I was speechless. I began to sob, but no sound came out. His mum looked at me and told me to go sleep in her room and to lock the door. As soon as I left, I heard her unleashing on him. I'm positive I heard her slap him hard. I just took my blanket and did as I was told. Eventually, I managed to fall asleep. When I woke up, both my boyfriend and his mum were gone. I didn't have time to question it because I had to go to work. I'm currently on my lunch break, and I still haven't heard from either of them. I guess I'll have to figure out what's going on when I get off tomorrow morning. I think it might be my fault that he broke it, because all I had to do was get out of the room. My stubbornness destroyed one of my most treasured possessions. I feel like an idiot, and I don't even know if there is a way to repair it. I'm just so heartbroken, and I needed to vent. In the comments, Optig says, "You know you're describing domestic abuse, right? And his mum knew it and beat the shit out of him. Leave. Now. It's not safe for you." I really hope she beat his ass. Even though I do hope he got his ass beaten, this is probably one of the reasons he thinks that beating is okay in the first place. When his own mother tells him off because his behavior is that shitty, that should tell you something. It's not on you to placate him, and he doesn't get to allow you to do anything. Exactly. His own mother clearly took OP's side. That fucking says something. Reading this post made my stomach turn. I truly hope that OP gets far away from this guy. He's dangerous as fuck. Next time, it's going to be you. Leave now. Honestly, at this point, the only thing he should be breaking is a land speed record, running to get his stuff out of your life. What a tool. I'm always so shocked and saddened to see people like OP saying that actually no, it was my fault. It's my fault that it's broken because I should have just listened to him. It's never OP's fault. It is not her fault that he did this, and it never will be. He's just an abusive, psychopathic piece of shit, and he deserves to be slapped a lot harder or have much more terrible things done to him than what the mum did. He should never step foot near OP again for this. OP should leave this situation immediately, get as far away from him as she can, and start her life anew, away from all of this, and with peace in her life. He was doing anything he could to get a reaction out of her, to get subservience from her, and he destroyed the one thing that she had, which had the most meaning in her life. Those are not the actions of someone that loves you. Those are the actions of someone that will escalate their behavior to killing you one day. He will kill you. That's not an if, but, or maybe. If he is able to escalate that much, then I truly believe he is able to escalate to the point of murder. And now, on to the update. This is an update to a post that I made a couple of days ago. After I got off my shift that morning, my boyfriend was sitting on the front porch waiting for me. As soon as I opened the door and got out, he approached me and kept telling me how sorry he was. I was still very angry and hurt, so I didn't say much. When I walked inside, he led me to our room. It was spotless, the cleanest I think I've ever seen it. He showed me that he tried to put the jewelry box back together. I know he did his best, but there were pieces missing, and the glass from the doors was shattered. I just looked at him and said, "Thank you." I didn't complain or anything else because I knew what would happen if I did. Apparently, though, I wasn't enthusiastic enough because he got annoyed almost immediately. He started calling me ungrateful. I told him that he couldn't undo what he did, and that is when he became irate. His mum was at work, so I didn't really have any backup, but his little sister was home. After he started yelling, he grabbed my jewelry box again and took it outside, shouting that I was ungrateful and didn't deserve him. His 6-year-old little sister heard us yelling and followed me outside. We both watched as he threw the jewelry box onto the concrete, smashing it worse than before, and then picked up several pieces and put them in his pocket. I started crying again and fell to my knees beside the remnants. His little sister came over to comfort me and told me that she loves me more than she loves him, and that her big brother was really mean. I told her that I loved her too, but she shouldn't say things like that, especially while he could still be listening. She nodded and helped me pick up the shards of wood and glass. I told him I wanted to leave. At first, he called my bluff and said, "Fine, leave then." But when I texted my dad that I needed him to come get me and he realized what I'd done, he lost it. He started crying uncontrollably, took my phone, and texted my dad back pretending to be me, saying that it was all a misunderstanding, that everything was okay, and that we'd worked it out. After that, he spent probably 4 hours talking to me, telling me he was going to be better, that he was sorry, but also pointing out all the things that I do that are wrong or shitty. I think tonight was the first time that I really looked at him and knew that this was going to be over. I don't know when or how yet, but I know this is not going to be the rest of my life. In the comments, Proper Strategy says, "Girl, get the fuck out of there. Call your dad from the bathroom if you have to, and tell him to come no matter what, because your hopefully soon-to-be ex is abusive and controlling and broke your stuff, and he pretends to be you through text. And tell your dad to bring a friend or two." Absolutely. Like any bully, he will not stand up to someone who could take him on. This guy is dangerous. Serial killer level of dangerous. Sadly, I'm not exaggerating. Holy shit, leave before he kills you. For real, this dude's giving true crime documentary pilot episode energy. He did this over changing the color of your hair. Leave before he traps you with pregnancies. He's an abusive person. He's not sorry. Block him on everything, and if he says that he's changed, he hasn't. Get some therapy, and I'm sure someone on here can recommend some books about this type of behavior. I think there's one called Why Does He Do That? I would really suggest reading up on abusive relationships so you can have a better understanding about love bombing, etc. It could save you years of heartache and whatever he's told you to lose self-esteem. Just know that he's wrong, and he does it to control you. You matter, and you are worthy of love that is kind, calm, and boring. And honestly, it's the best kind. I don't even know what to say after all of that. Like, truly, truly heartbreaking to see him switch up so quick. As I say a lot of these people are so stupid that they can't even keep up the act for more than 5 minutes. If they truly were someone that wanted to manipulate properly and really sink their teeth into you, they would leave the hardline abuse and control like this boyfriend is doing until after they have baby trapped you and marriage trapped you. And that is when it is so difficult to leave these people. Thank God for stupid abusers like this where the mask slips before any of that is a possibility, especially the mask slipping when the mum is home. He didn't even have the foresight to realize, oh shit, my girlfriend might scream enough that my mum comes in and deals with this. Not saying that any of that is okay, but it is a blessing to OP that he did this in plain sight, so that she has people that believe her, that will defend her straight away, and not do cover for the abuser in this situation like we see all too often, and that breaks my heart. I really hope that OP comes back with another update telling us that she did get out of there, she got her dad to come over with a bunch of guys and beat the shit out of him, hopefully. That's the least of which he deserves, in my opinion. Thank you for the story, thank you for the update. Best of luck going forward, OP. Am I the asshole here for refusing to pump for my mother-in-law? So I'm a first-time mum, and this whole experience has been very overwhelming for me. My wonderful baby just hit 3 months and is officially no longer a newborn. I've been lucky enough that I have a good supply, so my baby girl is exclusively breastfeeding, except for any excess that we use when my husband does her night feeds. I have made it very clear to most of our friends and family that I don't want anyone but me or my husband feeding her. My mother-in-law has been slightly annoyed, bordering on judgmental about this, but has mostly kept her mouth shut. We've never had any issues in the past, so I just chalked it up to her wanting to bond with the baby. I might allow it when she's older, but for now, I'm not comfortable with anyone else doing it. So we were over at my sister-in-law's house for her son's birthday, and while all the cousins and husbands played outside, me and all the ladies sat inside, playing past the baby. She ends up in my mother-in-law's arms and begins to fuss and make her hungry cry. I stood up and went to take her before she pulled her back and told me to go make a bottle. I told her no, that I would go to the guest room and feed her. My sister-in-law stood up and said to me that she had some formula and would make it for me. I refused again and quickly took back my baby, saying she's never had formula and I don't want her to be sick. My mother-in-law sighs and rolls her eyes and asks, "Why don't you just pump some so I can feed my baby?" I must have been visibly horrified because one of my other sister-in-laws stood and tried to guide me away by my shoulder. I took her to the other room to feed her and sat in there with her for the rest of the party. The sister-in-law whose party it was came to find me. I almost hit her when she said, "Don't you think it's a little selfish you won't let mum feed the baby? You could have just pumped a couple of ounces for her." I said I would never pump anything for her because I'm not a cow, and she's my baby. She declared that I was being witchy and walked away. My husband doesn't know this is all happening, but on the ride home, his mother and 2 of the other wives texted me to tell me that it was unfair to hog my baby and to make it so she couldn't bond with anyone else, and that I should have just pumped before I came so I didn't have to hide her away. My mother-in-law specifically said that I was being so selfish with her only granddaughter and that it wasn't fair to her that she couldn't even feed her baby. I just texted back that it wasn't her baby and put my phone on Do Not Disturb. I know I should tell my husband, but I don't want to add more strain as he and his mother are still trying to heal their relationship from when they had a big fight a couple of years ago. I don't want to cause drama, but I'm starting to feel very guilty, especially since I'm still getting tons of texts about how cruel I'm being. Am I the asshole for refusing to pump for my mother-in-law? Edit, small bit of context. My little sister choked while being fed by our great aunt and almost died. She hadn't been holding her properly, and my sister had to be rushed to the hospital. I was very young, but the memory is still very fresh in my mind, even when my husband is feeding our baby. I never want my baby to be unsafe while being fed, and I worry about other people feeding her because of this. Edit 2, I have absolutely nothing against formula, and I absolutely would have supplemented if needed. I ended up getting very lucky to have adequate supply for my baby. Formula is necessary for so many mothers out there, and while breast is technically better, I don't think anyone should be shamed for needing to use formula or choosing not to breastfeed. My daughter's pediatrician told me that he prefers to keep her on breast milk as long as I can, and that formula could potentially lead to her stomach getting upset. In the comments, Wingnut2029 says, "Not telling your husband just allows mother-in-law to slant the event to her advantage. Keeping secrets from your husband, even for his own good, is bad precedent. Not the asshole." OP replies, "I'm definitely sitting down when he gets home from work. I hate to make their relationship worse, but this whole thing is making me realize she probably shouldn't have a ton of access to me or baby. You're not making it worse by wanting to feed your own child. She is demanding you do what you said you won't do. She's digging her own grave. You're doing the right thing by exclusively breastfeeding, and it turns out babies can bond with people who do not feed them. Babies bond to their siblings, and those siblings don't breastfeed them or bottle feed them. They can bond to extended family members who do not bottle or breastfeed them. If mother-in-law wants to spend time with this baby and bond, that can be okay. She does not need to feed this baby to bond. Not the asshole. They actively got bonding time. What do they think holding the baby is? Bonding time. Feeding a baby is not the only way to bond with them. Neither of my daughters took a bottle. My parents still bonded with her plenty. I actually think they only ever gave a handful of bottles to my son because I was pretty adamant in the beginning about being the only one to give him a bottle once a night. He nursed every other feeding, since my husband was gone for training and couldn't have that experience. My son's a total Grammys boy at almost 5 years old. My middle is a complete papa's girl at almost 2. They didn't need to feed them bottles in order to create the bond they have with them. My daughter actually was not fond of my dad until she was about 10 months old. She would scream if he even looked at her. Sounds like mother-in-law and your sister-in-laws are just boundary stompers and have zero respect for you. OP replies, "I guess all the other wives have let her feed their babies. My husband had 4 brothers and 1 sister, and of them all, I'm the only one who's had a girl. It's been a whole fuss, and I've already let her have so much more time with the baby than I would have liked. My father-in-law couldn't care less, and doesn't even want to hold her, but he's not a baby guy. It's also hard because I don't have my parents in my life, so I want her to have grandparents, and I want to keep the peace." For me, that's kind of what the situation boils down to here, and mother-in-law, grandmother, refuses to keep the peace, and refuses to respect OP's boundaries. Boundaries are things you set for yourself, and there are consequences related to crossing those boundaries. You set up clear and transparent consequences should those boundaries be crossed, and you also gave your very solid reasoning as to why this is a boundary for you. You watched your sister almost die as a result of someone incorrectly feeding a child. I think everyone can understand why you would be apprehensive in this situation, and for them to make a big fuss, downplay it, and try and pressure you to give up this boundary of yours is unacceptable behavior. If anyone is breaking the peace, it is them, and I really don't think there is a great answer for this one. They are not going to be happy if they cannot feed this child. And I say they because, to me, I get the feeling that it's not just grandma that wants to feed the child. Not the asshole here, absolutely, but I don't know if you can keep the peace in this situation. I think Grandma's gonna be really pissed off that she doesn't get her way. She doesn't sound like a reasonable person to me. And now, on to the update. Hubby got home early tonight and we checked my phone together. Messages totaled out to mother-in-law, 14 voicemail, 23 calls, 67 texts. Sister-in-law, 8 Facebook messages, 4 phone calls, 17 texts. Father-in-law, but clearly from mother-in-law, 4 more voicemails, 5 calls, and 31 texts. I let my husband handle them as I didn't feel like reading them while already feeling so stressed about it. Afterwards, he took about an hour to calm down in the basement. The messages, from what little he did feel comfortable telling me, were about how I was tearing the family apart with my selfish behavior, and why do I even bring baby around if I don't want them bonding with her? The one voicemail was 20 or so minutes long, and it was apparently just her talking about how all the kids are both breastfed and formula fed, so grandma can help, and I'm just depriving myself of her assistance. I heard part of her rant saying how she knows best because she had 6 kids under 7/8 at the same time, and that me being so particular is going to make other babies impossible for me. Which is unfair because she wants 2 granddaughters and I'm the only one that can give them to her. My girl is the first girl baby and all 12 of her cousins are boys. Husband made one phone call and told her that if she's just gonna drain my phone battery, she will be permanently blocked from my phone. I called my OB today to talk about possibly getting a consult for a therapist to talk about my potential PPA. While I'm sure that this situation certainly is adding to it, I want to be as healthy as I can for my baby. A few of my friends visited today and gave me very similar advice on the situation. In the comments, I'm an NPC, so what says, I'm proud of you for letting your husband see firsthand what treatment you're receiving. You and he are a team. OP's lucky. She has a sensible and considerate husband who cares for and loves her. He will surely be a good dad too. Why is feeding your baby the only way for mother-in-law to bond? This is ridiculous. My guess is that it has more to do with the fact that she can't do it, rather than actually caring to do the feeding herself. The idea of being told no is causing the tantrum, because it's a way that mother-in-law can pretend to be a mama to the girl baby. It's a disgusting trope. If I were the sister-in-laws, I'd stop supporting that nonsense, because it's obvious mother-in-law wants to make the girl grandchild the golden grandchild. Not the asshole, you are mum, you and dad are on the same page. His opinion matters, not hers. Mother-in-law has already raised her children. She's not entitled to raise yours. If you feel even a hint of something that feels postpartum, please do talk to someone. It's no joke and can just sneak up on you. Stay strong, Mum. She's still a baby. She has her whole life to bond with people. And now, onto the final update. So, since this all started, my husband had fully cut contact with all but his oldest brother and his wife. The rest of his siblings and in-laws were all firmly on mother-in-law's side. Everything has been peaceful aside from the occasional phone card from an unknown number. He spoke with his mother in person one time while I was at a checkup for baby. He told me that he's uncomfortable with her being an hour and the baby's life while she's treating me this way. He said that she cried and tried to switch blame onto me about the situation, which he refused. She has shown up once or twice just to leave gifts for the baby. I've eased up a bit on my anxiety and have had 2 therapy appointments so far. I'm very lucky as my job gave me an extension for maternity leave. I talked to baby's ped and he recommended a good brand of formula for us to have on hand for any emergency. I appreciate all the support and I apologize for the underwhelming update. I don't think my mother-in-law is necessarily a bad person, but she's used to getting her way, especially with her family and the other women. I may update again if anything else dramatic happens, but baby is happy and healthy and meeting all of her milestones, and I couldn't be more thrilled. In the comments, According Pizza says, I'm glad your husband stood up for you. Sounds like you've got a good guy there. Stay strong. You're doing a great job of not allowing yourself to be bullied and setting a great precedent for your child. Not the asshole. Or precedent for you tomato folks. You're protecting your peace and your baby. And that's exactly what good parenting looks like. I'm a grandma, and yes, I did get to bottle feed them. But even as an infant, feeding them wasn't the way that I bonded with them. I bonded with them by holding them and talking to them, evolving as they grew. Feeding my infant grandchild had nothing to do with my bond with my grandbaby. Our bond comes from all the little things. I'm glad your husband stood up for you. I also want to note that you're 100% correct about a baby going cold turkey from breast milk to formula. I don't have birth children, but I have fostered several under 6-month-olds. A few were breastfed before I got them, and I had no choice but to give them formula, and it took anywhere from a couple of days to a couple of weeks before their little bodies adjusted. I don't blame you for only wanting you or your husband to feed your baby. You guys knew her needs best, and babies are, I'm sure you're aware, sometimes fragile. You did everything right and are doing great. I didn't expect them to go low or no contact with the majority of family after this one, but I mean, the advice is there for a reason. If people are going to support boundary stompers and those that are acting irrational, they too have to suffer the consequences of those boundaries being stomped. It's an unfortunate situation to have to cut off a very substantial support network by the sounds of it, but in order to keep the baby safe and to keep OP's anxiety down, these things have to happen. Unless you can find a middle ground, unless those people are able to make concessions and want to put their ego aside. This to me sounds very ego-driven on grandma's side. Then there is no choice but to go no contact until we reach a place in which feeding the baby is not going to be a problem anymore. OP did what she needed to keep the peace. Husband was 100% supportive of her, did not listen to the flying monkeys, didn't play with mother-in-law's bullshit. That's exactly what you want from a partner. I don't think this needs another update. Thank you for the story, OP. You are a shining example of a shiny spine. Thank you. Anyway guys, that's where I'm going to end today's episode. I do hope you enjoyed. If you did, let me know what you thought of it in the comments down below, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.